on some of the poorest states in America. I'm here to tell you that when 26% of the children in Texas live in poverty, we are not going to abandon those kids. When 24% of the people in Texas have no health insurance, we are not going to abandon those people. When 168,000 people in Texas are incarcerated, we are not going to abandon those people. And when workers in Texas still make a $7.25 an hour minimum wage, we are going to stand with those workers and raise them. As Claude mentioned to you, I have had a long political career, and throughout my political life, I have taken on virtually every powerful special interest in this country. And many of them hate my guts, and I welcome their hatred. But this is what I do not like, and that is in your state and in my state and in states all over this country, we continue to have working class and low income people voting against their own best interests. Now, I need your help to do something which is not easy. It's always easier to talk to our friends and people who look at the world the way we do. That's kind of natural. But I'm asking you to go outside of your zone of comfort. I'm asking you to talk to your Republican friends and family members and co-workers. And I want you to ask them this. Many of those Republicans are working class, low-income people. And I want you to tell them about the Republican budget that passed the United States Congress a few months ago, and you ask them whether they think that makes sense. Ask them whether they think it makes sense that we make massive cuts in Medicare and Medicaid. Ask them if they think it makes sense that we cut $90 billion from Pell Grants over a 10-year period. At a time when millions of families in my state here in Texas are struggling to put food on the table, the Republican budget made billions of dollars in cuts in nutrition programs, including the WIC program, a program for low-income pregnant women. Ask them if they think that makes sense. Ask them whether it makes sense to support a Republican Party which is determined to send their jobs to low-wage countries around the world. And then on top of all of that, the Republican budget gave hundreds of billions of dollars in tax breaks to the top two tenths of 1%. So our job is to reach out to our Republican brothers and sisters, working class people and middle class people, and get their heads right so they don't keep voting for people who are working day and night against their interests and their kids' interests. You know, politics is really not all that complicated. Media makes it a little bit complicated, but it really is not. What politics in a democratic society is about is a people coming together and saying, okay, what are our problems? How do we resolve them? Politics is not a baseball game about how much money this or that candidate raises. It is not a soap opera about somebody's personal life. It is not that if I slip coming off of this podium, I will have full knowledge that will be on the front page of the paper. What politics is about is determining how we go forward to improve the lives of our people. So what I want to do is very simply and straightforwardly, nothing fancy about it, is lay some of the issues out on the table that I believe are the most important issues facing the American people. And let me start with the issue of income and wealth inequality. Now this, in fact, is an issue that I've been talking about for many years, and I'm happy to see more discussion about this issue. And here is the story. Today in the United States of America, we live in the wealthiest country in the history of the world. But very few people understand that because almost all of the wealth rests in the hands of a very few people. America today has more wealth and income inequality than any other major country on earth. You know, you think the United Kingdom, with their queens and their dukes and their lords, that they have more income and wealth inequality? Wrong. We do. And it is worse today. The gap between the very, very rich and everybody else is wider today than at any time since 1928. The issue of income and wealth inequality, when you think about it, is the great moral issue of our time. It is the great economic and political issue of our time. Now here's why it is the great moral issue of our time. We have got to ask ourselves as Americans whether we are satisfied in living in a country in which there has been in recent years a proliferation of millionaires and billionaires at the same time as we have the highest rate of childhood poverty of any major country on earth. Is that the America we want? In America today, the top 1/10 of 1% owns almost as much wealth as the bottom 90%. Is that the America that we want to see? No! Today in America, we have one family, the family that owns Walmarts. That one family owns more wealth than the bottom 40% of the American people. One family. In the last 2 years, the wealthiest 14 people in this country, wealthiest 14 people, saw an increase in their wealth of $157 billion, more wealth than is owned by the bottom 130 million Americans. In my view, that is not what this country should be looking about, and together, you and I are going to change that.